Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here and share this architectural conversation. We are a small research office based in Torino, but we work all around Italy and also in Belgium because Isabelle is Belgian. And we have a circularity between what we make and what we write, the research we make, also at university where I teach. And things that we explore are things that change in our societies and are related. This is what happens because it's a society that brings innovation to the architects, and architects have to research on it and try to interpret it in their buildings. And our experience has been focusing, not so much by purpose, but as by chance, on community buildings, adaptive reuses, exploring emerging urban trends, and transformative preservation. Because it's one of the cases early cases of maybe one of the first co-housings in Italy, and it's a 48 flat building that used to be built for the Olympic Games and then left abandoned. We took it for a very small price and repurposed it by spending about 100 euros per square meter. We are very, very careful to low budget, and financial scheme is very interesting to us. And this has become the housing for third sector workers in Turin. And we still manage this building, and after 10 years is still pretty well. And other forms of community buildings are schools. This was one of the first wooden buildings built in northern Italy. It's about 15 years ago. We managed to finance it with the leasing with the bank, which was a kind of unusual scheme at the time, and also unusual was to build it in wood, and that costed 950 per square meter. Looks like a geological age ago with the prices of today. But at that time was possible by an extreme simplification of architecture, but still keeping it playful, and we wanted it to be also didactic, so we stripped in some parts the platform, platform. That's an homage to the guest, of course. The platform frame scheme, so that people could understand. At that time, people were mistrusting wood construction. The building is still there, and this is the last one. So we jumped 15 years. Whoever this is under construction is again wood. It's an old factory. We repurposed it as co-housing. But what is interesting in this case is, starting from that one experience, we became developers. So we now have a firm with more than 150 stakeholders, and that has become, we decided to jump the line. We were tired of explaining our clients that innovation was coming in housing. And we say, okay, maybe there is a chance. After the crisis, by the way, they were all passed away, most of my clients, so we had to step in. And this is the inside of this area. It's for 10 families, and this is the families visiting the building site with the construction. Again, this is Ixlam. It's another way of constructing with wood. It's a little bit more expensive, but fortunately, by making direct, they can get all the primes that our generous government is giving to families for this. This is, again, 15 years ago, is exploring what can be done with stuff that we received from previous generation. We are in Rome. This is a factory that was funded by, was the research center of Guglielmo Marconi. And we got it from a developer for temporary uses. We repurposed it in 3 months and transformed it together with the Roma Europa Festival in an event platform and a place for culture. But the same approach we experimented in repurposing industrial building by wood construction, basically inserting housing like drawers into a chest of drawers. And this was a experimental project we made in Torino for student housing, but then the promoter went bankrupt, and he remained as a playful experience that we loved a lot, the moment in which you insert things, and we believe that construction should be cheaper and speeded up. Two things that we architects should be more careful to. This is where we live also. We think that you have to walk the talk. So we bought a factory to convince people, and we decided to live in it. It won the Klimahaus Prize in 2013. It's one of the first loft that is basically passive in energetic terms. And that's also an exploration in multiplying the space in industrial building and mixing up wood technology and reuse. Another very low budget is this farmer markets. It was exploring the trend of bringing good food to the city and repurposing industrial building as market halls for farmers association in cities. And of course, it's not people having a lot of money, but you can do by using industrial components, for instance, like those doors that are used in mechanical industries. It's funny. Or at the opposite of the realm, for a one of the best Italian jewelry producer, we took a factory, used to be a wool mill, and we transformed it in their place, and they produce for the whole world. But it's very interesting because we brought back industry. This is 1.5 kilometers from Piazza Castello in Torino, and there is 400 people there, and that's manufacturing. We strongly believe that manufacturing has to go back to the city. There's less commuting. It can be fun, and it's also, can be also very funny. And it's interesting that usually in these industry, showrooms and industry are separated, so the workers never see the clients. And this is in the same space because there is a kind of craftsman pride in the factory. At an opposite scale, we work on master planning, but again, the line is always stitching new and old. And this was a work we made with Architetti from Amsterdam in Torino, competition we won, and was stitching all the abandoned industrial areas along a new metro line and reusing urban forms, but also interpreting new trends. And this happens because that factory I showed you before is here, so it was done in one part of the. Or again, tourism, that's again is luxuries. We're on the coast of Rome, is a big project we are starting. We are in the planning authorization phase. It's housing, it's congresses, it's hotels. We are in Fregene, the city where Fellini was going to the seaside. And it's a Roman developer, and it's interpreting the possibility of having mixed uses along the waterfront and bringing back the sea to Rome to a more higher standard than it is now. Was housing, well, we call it post-COVID housing, because it was a moment in which the clients were asking to have gardens and have everything because you needed more space. It's a building we just completed in Torino. Used to be a religious building. We cut one place, we made a little square that's inside. This was used to be the old church. Practically, the building is merging with the church. It's a little bit of an optical illusion. It's not so. It's colliding but not touching it. This is a preservation of a building in the same style. Could be the other one, but it's not. This one we work at just inside was so beautiful outside, and we basically keep everything. We clean, we refurbish, we continue, and then we insert something, of course, for giving a new taste, mixing. Sometimes we have the chance to making in very, very ancient building like the theater, Roman theater of Taormina, where we remade the signage, and this is acupuncture, so you have a very, very little elements, but they completely change the experience of the user in space, and you have the occasion of laying something in this gorgeous setting. The thing was about transparency, it's a hyper controlled area by the Heritage Authority, of course, because it's one of the most visited monuments of Italy. It makes about 2 million visitors per year. So this was very recent, a competition we won with Land Architects for the Valentino Park. That's where I teach, the School of Architecture of Polytechnic of Torino. So this will be hated by my colleagues probably. And we are making the most contemporary. This is a parking lot, and we had to cover it with painting and make a kind of artificial landscape skate park. Then we added some ingredients like a huge roses dome made of steel, is a kind of toroidal geometry. So getting the authorization for making contemporary architecture, little intervention in an historical park, was really very, very fun. You see the setting. And this is Belgium. A competition we won 8 years ago for a training center. This is the case in which, and we love a lot, there is a continuity between the previous activity and the new one. There used to be a stone quarry and has become the National Training Center for stone workers. So the people basically here are continuing the story, and we could add and continue. It's again a heritage listed building, but we have the opportunity to insert some new architecture outside it and within it by simply applying to some basic performance requirements from the fact, it had become a training center. We could have inside boxes and outside boxes, as you saw before. And also we try to keep as much as we can. Before it was golden leaf decoration in a gorgeous building in Torino. Here are all the rusted machines in an industrial building south of Bruxelles, but we love to keep things and to show that there is a continuity between us and our forebearers, and that's why we are all here. And this is the one of the very last is a competition we made in Torino with Lacattone Vassal about keeping and working on heritage. It was a rejected project, I would say, because we were demonstrating the client that his building didn't need any technical plans. He didn't believe it, but maybe we will be soon building this gorgeous theater within a 17th century building, and this is the kind of atmosphere that we think we can get. And as you can see, the building has no technicalities, is laid bare and is barely stripped and repainted with some attention. Of course, this is a rendering. Last and I'm over. This is again a continuity and discontinuity. It used to be a bank building, and we transformed it into the new economy faculty of the École Supérieure de Commerce de Paris, the laser site in Torino. It's a competition we won 4 years ago, and it's currently under construction. And we are very proud. We like to play with rules, that we somehow cheated the city and obtained it to have 1,000 square meters more in this very center of Torino. And it's the first time since 1970 that somebody gets some square meters in the historical center. And we added within the courtyard this kind of metallic waved building that will become transparent at night. There is some rebouncing between projects we saw today, which is very interesting. Luca is able to build a conversation between people that never met, and that's interesting. And that's what it is now, is under construction. This is the phase we love most of the building, when you end the stripping and you lay bare and you see all the potential that the past has given to us, and basically that's what we do. We try to enhance this potential. Thank you.